Joining us now at Belgrade is John Boston, journalist, activist, and political analyst. Hello, John. Hope you're safe and doing well. Your thoughts on this unprecedented carnage we're seeing in Gaza?
I have to say that this is the worst public relations disaster for Israel, probably in my memory. The indiscreet targeting of civilians, of civilian hospitals, of families, of family homes, of shelters is a war crime. It's a war crime, and not just for the targeted people of the empire, but now finally it's a war crime being obviously committed on live television by Israel. There's no way that Israel can go on like this and continue to do this and expect to receive the support that it has received over the many decades from the West. This is an excess that is obviously criminal.
Right, and does that Operation Al-Aqsa flood by Hamas on October 7th justify the casualties we're seeing of women and children leveling so many residential buildings in Gaza and basically illegally displacing Gazans southward?
Obviously, this is it's a war crime on multiple levels. It meets the UN definition of genocide. It meets the well-known definition of ethnic cleansing. It is a crime against humanity. The forced removal of the population itself is a crime. The destruction of civilian housing is a crime. And in fact, this is a compound crime at every level. And what it has done, in addition to killing thousands of completely innocent, uninvolved civilians, it has destroyed Israel's ability to pretend that it is morally superior or that it is the unique victim of terrorism. Because regardless of the fact that the Hamas organization conducted an act of terror against citizens of Israel and killed innocent civilian citizens of Israel, the acts by Israel have now made Israel as a state a terrorist state. It's one thing for a small group that represents less than 1% of the population of Gaza Strip are members of Hamas, maybe 2%. Here we have the state of Israel, the official legally represented government, conducting terrorist acts against openly identified civilians. Israel has sunk to the level of what it accuses its enemy of being.
And before we let you go, John, why is there such a reluctance by Western leaders, especially out of Washington, D.C., to push for a ceasefire at this point in the game?
You know, this is a complex question. There has been, ever since World War II, an immense amount of sympathy for the Jewish people, for the need for some kind of a homeland for the Jewish people, and so on after the Holocaust. This is level one. Level two is far more important, however, and that is the Israel lobby in the United States, which is the single most powerful financial contributor to both parties. The Israel lobby in the United States provided 60% of the financing for the Democratic Party and 40% of the financing for the Republican Party. So you have the two political parties in the United States, both of which are answerable to Israel because the Israel lobby funds them both. And this is the actual power factor at play here. This is how Israel can pull the string of America. This is how a small country in Western Asia on the border of on the edge of the Mediterranean Sea can give orders to America that runs from the Atlantic to Pacific, from Alaska down to the Mexican border. That's the dynamic at play here. Simple political power.
And John, did you hear Antonio Guterres, UN chief, yesterday said that Hamas's attack did not take place in a vacuum. That is a result of over 56 years of suffocating occupation and apartheid and the marginalization of the Palestinian population there as they've seen settlements illegally usurp all their land and leaving them with very little option.
Absolutely.
And what do we see? We saw the Israeli side, the Israeli UN envoy and the foreign minister asking for Guterres's, instead of entertaining the opposition to the way you've done things for 75 years, especially by head of the United Nations, you're going to question the man and ask for his resignation. Why not look at yourself in the mirror if you are the regime?
This is absolutely directly on point. The United Nations has condemned the occupation as illegal. The conduct of Israel has been voted upon at the UN, and it has been a subject of international legal action. Israel's occupation is an illegal act. It is the right of the Palestinian people to resist. It is the right of the Palestinian people to protect themselves and to seek their own statehood and their own freedoms. And Israel, by disproportionately killing, we're talking about a figure that's now exceeding 6,500 people already in this incursion so far. And the incursion hasn't even taken the form that Israel is threatening, which is boots on the ground, tanks on the ground, bombs, gas, water into tunnels, and so on. We are looking at a kill rate on Israel's side that is starting to approach the rate at which Nazi Germany killed its captives and its hostages in World War II. This is terrible, terrible, and stupid on the part of the Israeli leaders.
Thank you, John. Stay safe. Always a pleasure to check in with you from Belgrade. John Bosnich joining us.